Yeah, it should be live now. So today's character is going to be King K. Rool. So King K. Rool is a pretty slow character on the ground, I would say. Like, his speed's not that great. He is the second heaviest character in the game, though, so speed's not exactly expected to be that great. Jump height's also not that great, but that is pretty good for short hops, as that means that you can just short hop really low to the ground. But King K. Rool doesn't really get much out of short hop except short hop neutral air, which is definitely not a bad option out of a short hop, but you can see it's just not always like the most useful. So short hop and then neutral air, like that. So you can kind of just use that to cover people's shields with a lot of armor, things like that. So yeah, I guess now we can get into just your recovery. So you've got two jumps, and you've got an up special that sends you pretty high up into the air. You can use the hit of the up special, which is a little propeller above K. Rool's head. You can see there. You could use that to hit opponents and like drag them off the top to the ceiling, but it's not always consistent, as the propeller actually has a pretty strong amount of knockback even at lower percents, and it can hit through the ledge, so this can allow you to recover against certain characters. So as you can see there, I was able to hit Captain Falcon with the propeller. Happens a lot more than you might think from that example there. It's not 50%, it's more about like 75% of the time it will hit people at the ledge. And then if K. Rool is kind of like this, it's a little bit more consistent as well. So, yeah, very strong recovery because of this, although K. Rool is open to attack, so, like, during all of that amount of time he can be punished. Has a lot of landing lag, which I'm using the up special, so that's a large punish window, and King K. Rool is a pretty large target as well, so he is able to be punished for recovering pretty easily. Unless he's recovering, like, directly at the ledge, in which case certain characters can punish him with, like, a down air, but not that many can. It's better to go for, like, a back air like that, kind of. Except not really with K. Rool, as with King K. Rool, his back air is a bit laggier, so maybe something like a runoff fair for him against other K. Rools. But yeah, now we can go ahead and get into Moveset. So with Dash Attack, you get Super Armor on your stomach. I'm pretty sure that actually shows invincibility. Let me just test it here. No, it doesn't, okay. So, pretty much any move that uses your stomach at all, and then your side taunt as well, has Super Armor. So you can kind of just run through people's attacks. You will still take damage, but unless the damage that you take does enough to break your stomach, then you will just be able to hit them for pretty much free. So, like, neutral air is one of them, and so is dash attack. Dash attack, really good for approaching because of this, although if it is shielded, so if your opponent expects a dash attack and they shield it, it's very easy to punish. It's one of the easier ones, just because of how much in lag it has. Like, even if you just miss it on the ground, which I'll try here. Like that, as you can see, K. Rool kind of just flies in the air for a second, and then he falls to the ground. So then you have that amount of time to be able to punish him. And like, I'll hold down shield here, just to give you an idea. So I held down shield as soon as I hit A. Just have a very large window. Yeah, outside of that, it's still not that bad of a move. Like, if your opponent doesn't expect it at all, or if they expect you to approach from the air and they're trying to cover your air option, you might just run in with a dash attack, or like a run in, not down tilt, but like a run in up tilt, as up tilt can be your fastest tilt. But yeah, now we can go ahead and get into jabs. So you just have a 3-hit jab. It's not too incredibly strong or anything. It does a decent amount of damage. You can jab block with it, but really don't get too much from jab blocks, as you won't be performing them that much, because a lot of King K. Rool's moves and things are just so slow that you can't really reach opponents during jab blocks. And then, like there, I was able to get it like the last possible second before Falcon would have been able to punish me. So yeah, now we can get into just the tilts. So you got down tilt, which we'll call the berry effect. It's a very strong berry effect compared to down throw. Like, your opponent will be trapped in the down throw effect for a shorter amount of time than the down tilt. And that's not just because of percent difference here, that's just the down tilt's a little bit harder to hit, as it's got a hitbox on the ground, like pretty much just right where K. Rool's foot is where the ground hitbox is. And if your opponent is hit by any other part of the move, they'll either fly away, or sometimes they'll just be, or they can like dodge a move. Or if they're in the air, then it doesn't parry them as well. It also does not spike off stage, like you would think it might, but it doesn't hit low enough to be able to do that in the first place. Most of the ledge grab animations in this game are able to avoid it, but the ones that don't still don't get spiked, they just bounce up. It's like getting hit by a sour spot of a move, basically. Because that's what you are hitting your opponent with. Then you've got forward tilt, which does a bit more damage on K-Rool's hands than his arms, but it's still going to do a pretty large amount of damage either way. Really good punish if you do land a down tilt or a down throw. To like space that out and get in hit, as it will do 16.3% for the sweet spot, and sour spot does 13.8. But it's a very strong kill move. Like what percent? Around 100, I would think, is when it would kill. It's very similar to like a forward smash almost, except it's a bit faster than K-Rool's forward smash. Like K-Rool's forward smash is one of the slower ones in the game, but so is his forward tilt, so they're both really slow options. So as you can see, at the ledge, it's going to kill at 100. And Sour Spot did not kill at 100, because I tried that, or I tried to hit Sweet Spot and then Sour Spot. But as you see with forward smash, you kind of just have less range than your forward tilt, and it's just a lot slower as well. So it's much better to do like a forward tilt. Like my shield didn't even come out, because I thought it would have come out already, so then I let go of the button. Yeah, forward tilt can also be angled upwards and downwards as well. Though I'm not going to be able to do it maybe. Okay, there we go. So I just have to use a control stick. But there's the down one, there's neutral, and there's up. Up is not there. There we go, there. That was the upward angled forward tilt. So, yeah, very strong, but pretty slow. Kind of similar to down tilt. Like, down tilt's really strong because it can start, like, combos so you can get a kill from it. But forward tilt's just a stronger move at killing, so like you can do down tilt into forward tilt, for example. But both of them are really slow, so they're pretty easy to punish if you miss it or if it gets shielded. But up tilt, on the other hand, it's very fast. It doesn't cover as much distance in front of K-Rool as like forward tilt, but it does cover a lot of distance above him, a lot more than forward tilt does. It's very fast. It can kind of be comboed into itself sometimes, but I don't think I will be able to do it here. But yeah, you can kind of usually follow up an up tilt with an up air, or like a neutral air or something, but if you do land it on the ground, it won't be able to be followed up that well by any of those options. You can still follow it up with like a down air, but your forward air and back air, neutral air are all going to be pretty difficult to hit out of it, but they're still possible. Down air is just, or not difficult to hit, but down air is going to be like the most effective, unless you can land a back air and get this sweet spot. But yeah, up tilt, very strong kill move at like 130%, I would think. Let me just test it here. It might not have killed it, it might be 150. So yeah, as you can see, it's just a very strong move in general. It's not going to kill there, but it got kind of close. But if I do down tilt first, it might. Okay, so I got a bit closer. So yeah, as you can see, it's very strong if it is landed, and it's pretty fast as well. So it might not be the most convenient tilt to hit, but it's like just the easiest one to throw out, and it's the hardest one to punish because of just how fast it is. Like you can do up tilt out of shield kind of because of how fast it is, but it's still not going to be as fast as like neutral air out of shield, or up smash out of shield obviously. But it's still pretty quick, or it'll be about the same speed as up smash out of shield actually, because up smash out of shield has a lot of inline. We are now getting into your smashes. So down smash, probably the most famous one. You kind of lift yourself upwards so you can dodge a lot of get up attacks. So actually let me set it to an attack here, so new special. Or no, okay, so you have to set it to side smash then. Okay. It's gonna be kind of hard to time this. Yeah. So basically you can actually dodge that using K-Rool's down smash, but he's gonna recover either. Okay. Just because of how low the move hits, like you can do the same thing with like a down tilt from certain characters like Captain Falcon. You can just jump over them with your down smash animation and then get like a whiff punish. And it does a pretty large amount of damage and knockback, like kills very quickly. It's just a very strong move. to throw out if you do land it. It does have super armor. Forward tilt has super armor. I believe down tilt does, but I could be wrong about that. And then up tilt does not, but it does give you hand invincibility. Yeah, forward tilt has super armor on your stomach. I'm not really sure on down tilt, but up tilt doesn't. But down smash, it does have super armor on your stomach, so we'll be able to throw it out a lot, unless your opponent like reads in, then punches like a Falcon Punch or a Warlock Punch to get a strong enough move. But most characters just don't have strong enough moves to be able to challenge it that well. So if you do see a K-Rool, and you do see like charging up a down smash, just wait for them to release down smash rather than approach. Like, you can get hit by the sour spot, which is going to be really far away from K-Rool. Kind of that, like, area of effect around him, like right there. And you should be fine at almost any %. But if you do just accidentally get a bit too close, then it's a really easy way to end a stock for King K-Rool. With up smash, which will be the next one I go over, can't be performed out of shield, just like a regular up smash. Your head is invincible during the startup, but not anything too special about it. It does have super armor on the stomach. It's pretty strong. You kind of just like belly flop on your opponent, but let's see. It just doesn't really do that much knockback. Or that could be because that's 0. Let me try it 100. Yeah, as you can see, if you hit it on the ground, it's just not really going to do that much knockback, but in the air, it's much stronger if you catch someone landing on you with it. So, definitely not something you want to be on the other end of. Much stronger than, like, up tilt in comparison, but up tilt's much stronger on the ground than up air. So that's kind of, I mean, than up smash, not up air. That's kind of the trade-off there, is that you want to land up tilt if someone's, like, in front of you, and then up smash if someone's above you. Because if not, then up smash is not going to be that strong on the ground. And then we have forward smash, which can be angled. I'm just going to go ahead and turn this down to like 80. So you can see that was upward angled there, and then down. So you can kind of just hit people that are trying to like crouch underneath it if they're expecting an upward one. And then you also have the neutral angle for kind of just covering general options, because it hits most opponents. In almost any position, unless they like jump over it or spot dodge it or anything, you should be able to like, land a forward smash. Has a bit of startup, so it could be good for, like, if you run up to your opponent and they're shielding, and then you charge up forward smash like a second later, you could bait them into lowering their shields and then just releasing the forward smash. Because whenever you release it, it's very quick, but it does have a bit of charge time at the beginning. Even if you just tap A, like that's just me tapping A, you can see it still has a bit of startup lag. It also kind of moves King K-Rool forward sometimes, but, like if you do it, without having done another one directly so if you just spam it like this, then it's not going to move K-Rool forward, but if you do it, and then you do it again as, like, after he's already in, like, a neutral position like this, then it will move him slightly forward, after performing the move. And it does have super armor as well. Yeah, now into your aerials, so you got neutral air, got super armor on your stomach, you have a pretty massive hitbox, you can just cover most opponents pretty effortlessly. Does have a strong hit on the stomach whenever you like land on people, and also the startup's a bit stronger than the later hits, but, like here's the later hit. You can see it does about 10%, and then, let me do startup on the top hit here. Oh, okay, so it does the same amount. So, yeah. If you just hit people on the startup of the move, then it will do about 15.1%, and then if you hit people a bit afterwards, it's still going to do 10%, so that's not bad. It's not going to send them that far away either, so you might be able to pick up, like, a down tilt or something after reading a roll, or just reading their options out of the, tech, or miss-tech if they do miss it. So you could get a punish there out of a sour spot. With the sweet spot, though, a bit harder to get a punish off of, but you can still set up edge guards with it. You can also use it to edge guard because it does have a decent amount of knockback and cover a pretty large hit. And you can also use a sour spot to edge guard, but the sweet spot's going to be the better pick in most scenarios. So then you've got back air and forward air, so I'm going to go over back air first. Back air kind of looks like a forward air, and then forward air kind of looks like a back air. Like, because with most people, your forward air is going to be much fast, or I mean, not much faster, but much slower, and do a bit of damage. Whereas with King K. Rool, his is much faster, but it still does less damage than back air. As back air has a sweet spot on the hand whenever it goes down, very similar to Mario's forward air. So he's basically like got the opposite setup of Mario, is what I'm trying to say. So your forward air is your back air for, or your forward air for Mario is your back air for K. Rool, and your back air for Mario is your forward air for K. Rool. So back air does have a pretty strong spike, although it's not going to be strong enough at that percent, obviously, but still pretty strong on the ground and stuff for landing. Even the sour spot of the move is pretty strong, just a pretty strong hit of your fist downward, and if you land on opponents with it in just the right spot, you should be able to pick up a pretty easy kill. Though it does have a bit of startup, so you might have to try to wait for your opponent to throw out an option and then use that to punish, rather than just running up to them and back airing. But Fair, on the other hand, is much faster. Covers a decent amount of distance in front of King K. Rool, has a decent amount of knockback on like the sweet spot, which is going to be on his feet compared to like the rest. But like here's the non-feet, I think, and then this is the feet. So oh wait, it's kind of hard to hit the sour spot. There we go. So as you can see, if you land on someone with your stomach, then it's going to be much weaker than if you just kick them in the face, basically. So you want to go for that hit, but even if you don't land that, it still does about the same amount of damage as neutral air. Like even the weak hit still does about the same amount as a weak hit of neutral air. So it's still a pretty strong aerial. And it can be used to edgeguard just like back air, although with forward air you edgeguard people by sending them outwards, and with back air you send them either downwards or outwards and upwards if you land the sour spot. So it's a bit safer, but a little less rewarding if your opponents have lower percents. And then you've got up air, which pretty much just has a hitbox on King K. Rool's head. As you can see, you kind of like actually lift yourself up a bit when performing the move. So it's very hard to land on people with. But it's a very strong aerial if it is landed. You can pretty much only land it on platform stages, but I mean if you're facing a pretty tall opponent and you're in just the right spot, then you should be able to land it on non-platform stages. But no, that does have a lot of in-lag in the air. Like, I was buffering out an air dodge there, and you just can't really do much until the animation's over after the up air. I don't really know why it has that much in-lag. Like, it is a pretty strong aerial in terms of knockback, but it's not incredibly strong. Like, it can kill off the top at around like 100% on platform stages if you're on the second platform, but as you can see there, like that's about where the second platform is on Battlefield, and the blast zone on top of Battlefield's a bit taller as well, but it's pretty strong aerial, but it's not anything too strong to where it would, or it should have this much in lag. So if you do throw it out and miss it, you're very easy to punish. It's basically like you just entered Special Fall. Like, there's not really much you could do until right before you land on the ground, whereas with Special Fall, I called this Special Fall. I know it has a few different names. I call it, like, Free Fall or Special Fall, but it's after you throw up Special, and you can't really do anything. With that, you can't do anything until you land on the ground, whereas with Up Air, if you do it after a double jump, and you get the maximum height, then, you can do something, like, right before you hit the ground. And then you've also got down air, which is another spike. Doesn't have as many spikes as Donkey Kong, but down air is still a pretty strong spike. Very similar to Donkey Kong's spike, or Donkey Kong's down air spike, where you just stomp on people. Kind of similar to Captain Falcon's as well. Although you use both your feet like Captain Falcon does, whereas Donkey Kong just uses one foot. And yeah, that's pretty much going to cover it for aerials. So now we've got your specials, which you got slide special, which is going to be the crown. If you dodge the crown, then it will disappear for a while, and you can't use slide special again until you pick it back up. So I'm going to try to move around as well. Okay, so it's kind of hard to do this in single player, but I'm going to try to dodge the crown. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, it becomes an item that you can pick up on the ground. And you can actually use this against K. Rool, but if K. Rool picks it up, then he just wears it. It's basically like this item here. Let me show you. This item, the capsule. It's very similar to that, except it doesn't spawn any items out of it, and it has much stronger damage and knockback. Or I think it has the same amount of damage, maybe. I didn't realize the capsule did 18.9, but it doesn't summon an item, though, so you won't be able to get anything out of it. It's basically like doing that summon, and it has a much stronger knockback, though, for sure. Because it will actually knock down opponents and make it where they go into tumble, which is where they have to tech or they enter like the grounded animation, ring into jab block. But it will send them into that. So basically, like this animation. They're the one that Captain Falcon was currently in. So if you are hit by the crown on the ground, then that can happen to you, or in the air as well if you don't do anything after being hit. But yeah, it's a decent tool for edge guarding because it's very similar to like Simon and Richard's slide special, where you just kind of send out the cross. Except with King K. Rool, you send out your crown, and if you miss it, then it can actually be used against you. If it falls off stage though, and you miss it, so if I were to do something like this, then the crown will take a few seconds, but it will just spawn somewhere on the stage. Usually spawns next to K. Rool, sometimes above him if he's in the air, and then it just lands directly on top of him. But usually it'll spawn in his general area, so K. Rool can pick it up, or you can pick it up if you're fighting against King K. Rool and throw it at him. And it's really useful for edge guarding him, because as I said earlier, his up special, the propeller has a very strange hitbox where it's like above K. Rool, so it actually covers his ledge grab animation, so it's really hard to punish if he's recovering directly underneath the ledge like that, because the propeller will hit like right where King K. Rool's toes are, basically on the ground. So that's like, as soon as he grabs the ledge, like he'll be perfectly fine, unless you like jump over it and then down air him or something like that and get a 2-frame. But outside of that, if you don't have a pretty solid 2-frame or anything that can edge guard K. Rool that well, you can use this crown for that. And you can also just use the crown in general to throw it at him, like a turnip kind of. Turnip or a capsule. But if K. Rool falls off stage while doing the move, you can input the move really early. Like, I'm inputting the move pretty much as soon as I fall. So like as soon as I'm off the ledge, I mean not as soon as I fall, but like right there. Then you can get the crown at a lower height, and that's pretty good for edge guarding opponents that are trying to recover low against you. So you can kind of just throw out a hitbox down there. But on the stage, you can see it covers a decent amount of range, and it will return to K. Rool and stuff like that. It can be reflected though, so you would need to watch out for that if you are King K. Rool, but then you can reflect it back with your down special, if you're fast enough. But yeah, that's pretty much going to cover it for side special. I guess I could say its damage output's okay. It does like 10% on the way there, and then yeah, as you can see there, it doesn't really do that much damage. But it's still pretty bad to be hit by. If you do get hit by it enough, the damage is going to start adding up. And then if you're at like higher percents and you get hit by it, it will have a decent amount of knockback, so it can throw you off stage and put you in an edge guard position, but it can't really kill until very high percents. We have, I guess we already covered up special, so I'm just going to ignore that for now, because I already covered up special at the beginning. So at down special here, you get frame 1 invincibility, and you also get a counter that can reflect on King K. Rool's stomach. So basically, your standard counter, if you are hit by a move that's strong enough, like that, then you can just counter it and get damage back towards your opponent, and then, like I was able to get a final smash from it. So I guess we'll watch final smash here. But yeah, it will also reflect projectiles. Captain Falcon doesn't really have a projectile, so I'm kind of going to show that with this banana gun here, and then I'll set it to control. So let me go do that. So if I grab this banana gun here, and then, well, okay, yeah. It's kind of hard controlling 2 controllers at once, though. So hold on a second. Let's respawn that. There we go. So as you can see, it will also reflect projectiles back at your opponent. It cannot be broken kind of like your stomach armor can, so like if I were to land a neutral air on Captain Falcon Punch here, so let me set it to where he Falcon punches. Oh, let's try that again. There we go. So as you can see, King K. Rool's stomach armor gets damaged a lot, and it will eventually break. That just causes them to go into a shield break animation, pretty much, where, like, you know how whenever your shield breaks, so let me just show it with King K. Rool here. Basically, this happens to King K. Rool. So then you can be punished with, like, a combo or anything like that. Except your stomach will be glowing and broken. Is basically the difference between that and the regular shield break animation. Your cracks in your stomach do heal over time, though, so they aren't a permanent thing until your stomach finally breaks. But the stronger the move, the more damage it will do to your stomach. But with a counter, that doesn't happen, is basically what I was going to say. Is that the counter is just pretty much impervious to all damage unless it's performed after the counter is inactive, which doesn't really have that long of a cooldown, so it's pretty safe to throw out if you're unsure if your opponent's going to throw out a move. Just because of how long the counter effect is compared to the cooldown. Like, the cooldown is really not that long, and the counter effect is much longer. It's pretty much as long as King K. Rool's stomach is glowing there. You kind of see it glow green for a second. That's whenever the counter is actually active. And then, finally, we have neutral special, which is going to be the blunderbuss. So, you got the cannonball, which does a decent amount of damage. It can be used to snipe opponents, but really it's just not that strong enough to. If you do suck it back up into the cannonball, you will shoot it at a different angle that's kind of upwards, and then if you shoot it again, it just shoots in the same angle. You can also turn around the angle, so like if I were to shoot the gun and then suck back up the cannonball, I can actually turn around by inputting in the opposite direction with the control stick before it fires, without having to B reverse it. But you can also just B reverse a move like that. The actual sucking part of the cannon is pretty strong as well. King K. Rool can go through platforms while he's using the absorption, which isn't that commonly used, but it is something that can happen. Like, I've seen a lot of CPUs do it, but I really don't see that many K. Rool players do it. In like the CPU tournaments, I mean. But really, it's just not too useful of a move like the going through platforms part, but the sucking part can be used to gimp people. So, like, if Falcon were at the ledge here, you'll often see King K. Rool players online just, like, jump out here to the point to where they go off stage, and then suck people up in the cannonball. If they tech it, then they live, and then sometimes that doesn't even save them, because sometimes it's in a position where you can't tech like it was there. But like on Battlefield, it's really easy to set a position where they have to tech it, and if they don't tech it, then most of the time they will die, because of how much knockback it does from the stage spike. But yeah, I believe that covers all of the moves. So we covered new special, side special, and down special. We already covered up special, basically during recovery, so if you want to just see that in use, then here you go. So you can just use it to drag people off stage, and then you have to make sure that you catch them, because they can't escape it by just DIing. And at higher percents, they just bounce out of it as well. So you do have to make sure that you're directly underneath them. It really only works at lower percents, but it doesn't have a hitbox low enough to be able to hit most opponents on the ground. Like, I could see it hitting Ganondorf and Ridley, maybe Mewtwo as well, but even like Captain Falcon, who's one of the taller characters in the game, he's still not even affected by it because of how high the hitbox is. But that does allow K. Rool to recover pretty easily. So yeah, now we can get into throws. So we got up throw, really strong kill throw on Battlefield, because you go to the top platform, or you basically just grab somebody in the center and then up throw them, and the knockback won't be based on down here on the ground, but it will actually be based from the top platform. So you can kill people at like 100% just by up throwing them down here, because you'll bounce off the top platform rather than bouncing off down here. So the knockback is still going to be the same, but because you're higher up, it's easier to kill off the top with. Forward throw, it's kind of strong, but it doesn't really do that much. Like you can see there, it's just not that great of a move. You kind of just throw somebody in front of you. It's pretty fast though, so I guess maybe you could use it to attempt to get a follow-up like that, but really it's just not strong enough to do much. Back throw is a kill throw, but it's a kind of weak one. It's decent at killing, but there are much stronger kill throws and things like that. Like Ness's back throw, for example, is one of the stronger ones. King K. Rool is kind of one of the weaker ones, but it's not a bad throw, it's just not a strong one. And then you've got down throw, which is a combo starter because you get the berry effect. It's a very predictable throw though, so maybe mix it up by using like an up throw or a back throw. I wouldn't recommend a forward throw, or maybe just letting your opponents mash out of it during the pummel, because they can mash out of the ground really easily, or at least most opponents can now, because of how much practice they have at it. But with down tilt, it's much harder to mash out of, so that's a bit better for starting combos out of a berry. But King K. Rool doesn't really have that many combos in the first place. But yeah, your down throw is very predictable because it's just a very convenient throw for starting combos, because you can just force opponents to be buried instantly just after grabbing them for free pretty much. But because of that, most opponents are going to try to start mashing as soon as they get grabbed by K. Rool, so maybe you can use that to do a back or up throw against them to kind of throw them off, potentially. But yeah, now we can get into neutral with King K. Rool. So I'm going to just throw out a crown here. You kind of want to set up a zone potentially. You can play K. Rool rushdown, but you can also just use his projectiles like this. It's not really setting up a zone, because K. Rool, I mean, I guess he could be a zoner, but none of his projectiles kill that well. Like, neutral special, the actual projectile can kill off stage if you do land it, but it just moves a bit too slow and very predictable, so you just want to use your attacks, or not your attacks, but just your non-projectile hits to be able to get a kill. Like down air, for example, very useful for edge guarding. Back air is really good as well at that neutral air. You can just run up to people and kind of land on them with a down air if you want to, I mean not down air, but neutral air if you want to approach from the air, and then dash attack if you want to approach from the ground. And not many people can challenge that, a few can, but Captain Falcon, I would say, like, he has to have a Falcon punch in the perfect position, or like a forward smash in the perfect position, to where as soon as you run into Falcon, then it breaks your super armor. Same thing with most characters with forward smash. They have to be in a position to where the move is already active as soon as K. Rool runs into them, and then maybe they can break his armor. But if they're a bit too slow or a bit too fast, then K. Rool can hit them for pretty much free. If his armor is broken, though, you do have a problem, because it's very easy to punish K. Rool because you're in a shield break animation. But if your opponent does mess up the punish, then you get out for free, but really, it's just not worthwhile to do. And I don't know why reset, but here, we'll just reset that game, I guess. So yeah, I accidentally threw out a forward smash there. I wasn't trying to. Here, I'm going to try to back up and throw out a crown here. But yeah, he did a double roll behind me. I thought he was going to roll once. But yeah, you can kind of use slide special to confirm hits like that on the backwards hit, or maybe just add in an additional hit to like a jab. And I throw out a down smash here just in case he ran into it. I didn't think he actually would, but there's always a chance. It's pretty hard to punish down smash actually because of how fast it is, but it's still not a safe move to throw out in neutral. So I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you know that your opponent's not going to be able to punish you, like if you're playing against someone who's not used to King K. Rool and not used to super armor. But yeah, I had to read the text there. Let me try to get back to stage. King K. Rool can kind of just get back to stage for free, so that's not really something you have to worry about. Just make sure that you recover low if you are trying to get back to stage. A few characters can punish King K. Rool. Pete, for example, is going to be the easiest one to be able to punish K. Rool because she can summon the turnip, and it's really easy for her to summon at an advantage now instead of disadvantage, because they made it where she can't really summon them in disadvantage. But if she has a turnip and she uses that to edgeguard, it's pretty hard for K. Rool to recover. Other than that, it's not really that bad. Like, he's still super heavy. He's the second heaviest character in the game, so he can kind of just take the hits and then be fine. Like, at higher percents, like, I'd be worried around 120%, but at 100%, I'm still not really that worried about this game so far. Yeah, forward throw here. I'm going to do an air dodge. He's trying to catch me with a Falcon Dive there. Kind of knew that, but I had to recover there. because I'm not really sure the distance of K. Rool's up special. I know it got nerfed since the, or not the last time I played him, but since the first patch, and that's kind of what I'm used to for K. Rool. Tried to just try to forward smash there. It wouldn't have killed, but it would have been a nice way to reset this position, so I could maybe have a bit of stage. Here we go. So, as you can see, I'm still alive at 170%, pretty effortlessly as well. Like, I've had to do a bit to stay alive, but I really haven't thrown out too many unsafe moves or thrown out anything too risky. I was about to throw out a down smash there, which would have been risky, and I tried to there as well, but he called it out with a dash attack, so not much I could do there. I'm a bit behind now, but I can definitely recover from this pretty easily. But yeah, he's doing a really good job of avoiding the cannon. That's kind of, if you notice what I do at the ledge, I kind of just throw out the crown and then throw out a cannon unless I an advantage. In disadvantage, and by disadvantage I mean if you're at a stock disadvantage where you're behind your opponent by a stock or two, then you want to go for the cannon edge guard. If you're even stocks or if you're on a stock ahead, unless you're on the last stock, I recommend going for a down air. I was going to try to go for it there, but he caught it with up air. But yeah. Managed to take that hit there, but I managed to get him into grab. Oh yeah, that's going to be the game there, because it's recovery. But, yeah, King K. Rool, very strong edge guarding, very strong moves in neutral and things like that, just to be able to get out a lot of damage. Lives for a very long amount of time due to his weight and his recovery. But, main problems that I have with K. Rool, his speed's pretty slow. Like, even some of his faster attacks are pretty slow, like Neutral Air, for example. You still have a lot of landing lag on it. Even though it's I think it is his fastest aerial, I'm not really sure on that, but if not, it's one of his faster ones. Between that and forward air. But as you can see, they both have a pretty large amount of landing lag. So, not really something that you can throw out too much, but if you do land it, you will be able to get in a lot of damage, so that's kind of something that's good about K. Rool. Another problem with K. Rool is that he's really large. Like, look at his model compared to Captain Falcon's model. Sorry, not Captain Falcon, but Captain Falcon's model. As you can see, K. Rool's just much larger in, like, height, in size, and everything, so you are able to be comboed a lot and be hit a lot, but you can kind of break out of combos with some of your faster aerials like Neutral Air, using the super armor, but really it's not that great whenever K. Rool starts to get comboed or is in disadvantage. His recovery, if you recover low, is really good. If you recover high, it's not that great. And, yeah, that's pretty much it for, like, disadvantages. Sometimes he can struggle to kill if your opponent outranges K. Rool, because a lot of his kill moves don't really have that much range. Like, forward tilt, for example, has a decent amount of range, and it's a very strong kill move, but it's not strong enough. I mean, it's not, like, long enough, it is strong enough to kill, but it's not long enough to be able to outrange like Lucina's forward smash, or, like Roy's Neutral Air, or anything like that, so you do have to be careful, when playing against characters with longer range. Or, like, for example, with Falcon's, down tilt, his down tilt would be able to hit me from about here, maybe, and my forward tilt, yeah, it's barely out of range, so sometimes your opponents can use their range against you, but forward tilt is kind of a bad example, because that probably has the most amount of range. But up tilt, for example, up tilt's your fastest tilt, as I said earlier. It has a decent amount of range, because it covers a lot of area in front of K. Rool, but the thing is it doesn't cover much horizontally, it only covers it vertically, so a lot of moves can just outrange it there. Forward tilt can be outranged by certain moves, but I guess not really too many, like forward tilts by sword characters, forward smashes with characters like Ganondorf, who use their swords in their moves, like that, but really not too many characters can outrange forward tilt, whereas with all of his other moves, basically, like Neutral Air can be outranged, up air can be outranged, down air, back air, forward air, up tilt, down tilt, forward smash, down smash, and up smash can all be outranged by sword characters pretty easily. So, you do just have to pretty much know the matchup against them to be able to say if you will do good against them or not, because it's very, like, matchup knowledge dependent, because a lot of characters can abuse K. Rool's, like, slow aerial speed and things like that, because I did forget to mention that his air and, like, ground speed are really slow in general, so that's kind of another problem with him, is that he can't move around that fast, and he has a pretty large hitbox, so those two added together just means that he either gets comboed a lot, or he can't escape from people trying to run towards him, or he can't control the stage because he can't manage to keep people outside of his area. But yeah, now we can get into taunts, so let me go ahead and put this on to zoom, get the Cannon Falcon out of the way. So we got up taunt, side taunt which does have super armor, and then down taunt. Not anything too special with the taunts, I would say, but that's going to be it for the King K. Rool guide. I didn't really go over that many combos, like I kind of just said that crown kind of confirms hits, and then down throw kind of confirms hits. Up throw doesn't really combo on anything actually, but like down throw, down tilt, and side special can all get you a hit potentially, but really the King K. Rool's combo game's pretty weak, so you won't find that many, but he does have a few strings that kind of work, but he doesn't really have that many true combos, is what I mean by that. And this max combo here came from pummeling opponents at higher percents for some testing with down throw in 1.0, but I haven't tested down throw in a while, so I'll have to do that again on a later date. But yeah, I'm going to set things up for the Super Mario Maker stream that I plan on doing after this, so let me go do that, and then I'll be back. So yeah, I guess I'll see everyone then.